Think of you of starting a party at like midnight. Like what time will it go till?
That's a different type of party, though.
Sean Combs talking about partying, women, and much more during interviews over the years.
You're going to hear about my party. They're going to be shutting them down. They're going to probably be arresting me.
I look at 7 moments from Diddy's past interviews that are getting a lot of attention in light of the allegations being made against him. Welcome to Crime Fix. I'm Angenette Levy. Sean Combs has given a lot of interviews over the years, and that's not unusual for a celebrity to hit the talk show circuit to promote albums and other things. But some of the things that Sean Combs has said over the years makes you wonder, did he tell on himself? Or maybe he wasn't joking when he talked about his famous parties. His white parties were celebrity-studded events, and invite was coveted. At this point, that isn't what has him in trouble with the feds. Combs' alleged freak-off sex parties with male sex workers and ex-Cassie Ventura are what have him facing federal sex trafficking charges at this point. The freak-offs, according to the U.S. attorney, were forced upon Ventura and sometimes went on for days, with her being given drugs to keep her participating.
Combs has been charged with RICO conspiracy. He used his business and employees of that business and other close associates to get his way. Those individuals allegedly included high-ranking supervisors in the business, personal assistants, security staff, and household staff. The indictment alleges that those individuals facilitated the freak-offs. They booked the hotel rooms and stocked them with the supplies, including drugs, baby oil, personal lubricant, extra linens, and lighting. When the hotel rooms got damaged, they helped clean it up. They arranged for victims and commercial sex workers to travel for the freak-offs, and they delivered large quantities of cash to Combs to pay for the commercial sex workers. The indictment also alleges that they helped Combs cover up his crimes. During the March 2016 incident at the LA hotel that I mentioned earlier.
Now, Combs' attorney has said this sex was consensual.
His resolve is the same. He believes he's innocent. I believe he's innocent. And we're going to fight this case with all of our might until we don't have to fight any longer.
Combs is being held without bond at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, and he has pleaded not guilty. We've never heard Combs talk about freak-offs in interviews that we're aware of, but he has talked about his parties. And some of those comments sounded like jokes or blusters. But now, given the allegations being made against Combs in the federal courts and in civil suits, that his staff placed drugs in bottles of champagne, it makes you wonder, was he really joking? Combs was talking about his parties all the way back in 1999. Here's what he said in an interview with Entertainment Tonight.
You're going to hear about my party. They're going to be shutting them down. They're going to probably be arresting me, doing all types of crazy things just because we want to have a good time. You know, whenever you bring up a different element into people's environment, things that broaden people's horizons, people get intimidated.
I want to thank Upside for sponsoring this episode of Crime Fix. Upside is a great free app that gets you cash back on things like food and gas. This is not a confusing rewards program. Upside gives you real money that will go straight into your bank account. Just download the Upside app, click it, and claim an offer, and pay with your credit card or debit card as usual. Upside works at places like Shell, Exxon, 7-Eleven, KFC, Taco Bell, and even Chipotle. To find out how much you could earn, click the link in the description to download Upside or scan the QR code on your screen and use our promo code CRIMEFIX and get an extra 25 cents back on every gallon on your first tank of gas. That's promo code CRIMEFIX for extra cash back. Combs went on to say that his parties brought people of different backgrounds together, breaking down racial barriers. He also talked about his parties on Conan O'Brien's late night show in 2002. Combs talked about what makes a good party. He said you need beautiful women and men, along with other things.
Now, we need alcohols.
Right.
Alcohols.
Right. Not just one alcohol.
Alcohols.
Right, just a different blend. You need the ladies, you need the booze.
You need some water.
For watering plants?
No. No, I don't know if guys have noticed this, like a lot of ladies drink water at parties. They just, you know, so you have, if you don't have what they need, they're gonna leave.
Right.
Gotta keep them there.
Right.
You need locks on the doors.
Okay, this is sounding kind of dangerous now.
It's a little kinky, but
yeah.
Rock with me, but just check it out. You need a lot of heat. A lot of heat. Yeah.
Heat. You mean that physically the place has to be hot?
You don't have no air conditioning.
No air conditioning.
No.
Why is that?
Heat affects the alcohol, and it also affects, like, everybody gets a little bit more comfortable and loose. Builds up a nice little sweat.
That just sounds disgusting. What are you talking?
Depends on the way you look at it.
Now, Conan O'Brien laughed at some of that and probably thought Combs was joking about locks on the doors and heat, and maybe he was. But given the allegations being made by Cassie Ventura, and keep in mind Combs settled her civil suit within a day, it makes you wonder if all the way back in 2002, if Combs maybe wasn't joking. Combs also appeared on Conan's show in 2004 and talked about having his staff prep his hotel rooms for him.
Let me ask you something. I don't know if this is just made up myth or if this is true, but I'm told that when you go to a hotel, anytime you go to a hotel, you don't just check in the way everybody else does. You send someone ahead to prepare the hotel room for you.
It's called preparing the sexy.
Preparing the sexy.
Yes.
What's preparing the sexy?
I mean, when I walk in, I definitely take pride in being the originator of the preparation of the sexy.
Yes.
Yes, and that's candles. I like candles.
In 2009, Sean Combs appeared on Ellen, and he was actually on her show a lot. Ellen was kind of upset. She wanted Combs to explain why he was allowing Chris Brown to hang out at his house after Brown had beaten up Rihanna before the Grammys. Here's what Combs said.
You clearly have a lot of people going, why would you do that? Why would you give Chris, a guy who hit a girl, and he's jet skiing around in your, I don't understand. Because, listen, I was a huge fan of Chris's. I love his music. He's a talented guy. But to hit a girl.
Yeah, because I know both of them, and it's my house. And I'm allowed to give my house to whoever I want to give my house to. That's number one. Number two is that I'm the type of person that I don't cast a stone or cast a judgment on anybody. And so if a friend or friends ask me for a favor, then I'm going to be there for a favor as long as I know that the energy of the favor is positive for two people to sit down and talk about a situation that they're in.
Now, you heard Combs say, "It's my house," and Ellen pressed him again.
I'm not going to get involved in it. I'm not going to pass judgment on it. If I could be there as a friend during hard times, then I'm going to be there as a friend.
Right.
But I don't know the exact particulars. I didn't get into it. I'm not going to do this or do that. It's a dark time for them, and I was there more as a support.
Combs started to look a little uncomfortable as Ellen continued to press him.
It's hard for me, and I don't believe in judgment either, but I don't want any girl out there thinking it's okay to go back to a guy who hit her. I don't want any girl to think that.
I don't think...
And I don't mean to put you in that, because it's not you.
No, but you are putting me in it, so I'm gonna speak on it. I don't think that it's right for anybody to hit anybody at the end of the day, and I don't think it's right. I think that we all have to be honest with ourselves as adults, and people have been in relationships. We know sometimes those relationships get ugly, and sometimes it doesn't come out into the forefront the way this one has come out. And it's a lot of stones being thrown, and we don't know exactly what's going on. These are two young individuals. We need to pray for them, and we need to give certain support, but you don't need to start just saying that you know something that you don't know.
This was in 2009, 7 years before the incident involving Combs beating Cassie Ventura in a hotel hallway in Los Angeles. Federal prosecutors say Cassie was trying to escape a freak-off at the time. That prior clip on Ellen makes you wonder, was Combs dismissive of the abuse that Chris Brown inflicted upon Rihanna? Ellen obviously had serious questions about what Combs' explanation was and the message that his actions might send to both men and women. Now, that wasn't the only time Combs appeared on Ellen's show. He was on her show more than a dozen times, and his parties had come up during another interview.
So tell me about your birthday party. Am I invited?
Yes, you're definitely invited. I invite you to all my parties. You just haven't seemed to show up.
No, well, is it on the East Coast?
Yes.
Well, that's why. Why don't you have one here on the West Coast? Because I work all the time.
Okay, well, maybe I have one at your house.
Where's that? Now, what time would your party start, let's say?
Like 9:30.
Really? That early?
Yeah.
I could make that.
Yeah.
But I could think of you of starting a party at like midnight. Like, what time will it go till?
That's a different type of party, though.
Uh-huh.
It'll go from like 9:30 to like maybe 3 o'clock, 3 o'clock. And then, we have the top 2 floors of the hotel.
And then it will carry on there?
Yeah. Then the after party.
No, I know about them.
So Combs is talking about 2 different types of parties. The earlier party, and then the later party, the after hours party, that goes into the early morning hours. He called it a different kind of party. You notice that Combs acknowledged that Ellen had not been to any of his parties. In 2011, Combs was on the Graham Norton show on the BBC and talked about 2 guests who he may have wanted to come to his parties in the past.
I do worry because I read that on your that you want to get Prince William and Prince Harry to a Diddy party.
I don't think, not anymore. I mean, before,
Yeah, don't ruin our royal wedding for us.
Trust me, they're off the list. As of now, they're off the list. But before, when they were young bucks growing up, and they were getting in a lot of trouble themselves. So hey, I was like, why don't you come hang out with me?
Now, Sean Combs is clearly joking in that clip, but given the allegations, that clip has kind of made some people go, whoa. Over the years, Sean Combs has been on the Breakfast Club radio show with Charlemagne the God a number of times. Combs said that he had never been a good boyfriend in his previous relationships. He said he always wanted his cake and to eat it too, and was definitely a cheater. This was on an appearance back in 2022. He also said that he always wanted to have a girlfriend, but also he wanted to have girls on the side. Combs went on to say that you can't play with people's hearts, and he had a lot of growing up to do. He also said he was not trying to be a player. This kind of mirrors what Jennifer Lopez had said previously, that she broke it off with Combs in the early 2000s because she thought that he was not being faithful to her. Last year in 2023, Combs was back on the Breakfast Club to promote his love album. He said he's into long types of multiple round love-making vibe sessions. Now, you could take this a number of ways. He could just be talking about relationships, but with the allegations about the freak-offs, which are allegations being made in a criminal court now, which have yet to be proven in that venue, could this be an allusion to freak-offs? We're not sure. He did settle that case with Cassie the day after she filed it, and the allegations about the freak-offs were detailed at length in that suit. Now, speaking of Cassie, this next one isn't an interview, but it is a clip that has raised some eyebrows. It's from the BET Awards in 2022. Combs thanked his chief of staff, Christina Coram, who we've told you about before, and Bishop T.D. Jakes, as he talked about being in a dark place for a few years.
Yeah, and also Cassie for holding me down in the dark times. Love.
Now, we're not really sure what he meant by Cassie holding him down in the dark times, but we know that Combs beat Cassie in a hotel hallway in 2016, and Combs settled a lawsuit that she had filed against him within a day, alleging years of sex trafficking, rape, and abuse by Combs. And Cassie is also victim 1 in the federal case. Now, something that's also gotten a lot of attention: Sean Combs' interviews with former TV talk show host Wendy Williams. Williams has known Sean Combs since the 1990s, and she actually blamed him for her being fired from her Hot 97 radio show back then. Now, why would Combs want her fired? Let's bring Charlemagne the God back into this. Charlemagne confirmed in an interview that Wendy got fired for putting it out on the radio back then that Combs was gay. Charlemagne was Wendy Williams' radio co-host at one time. Wendy Williams has also said that Combs sent members of a girl group to beat her up outside the radio station in the 90s, but thankfully she escaped. She's also talking about his arrest. She told the Daily Mail recently, "It's about time," she added. "What is really weird is that I have been told by so many people, 'Wendy, you called it,' including some people from my family who have said the same." Now, given Combs's and Williams's history, a lot of people have pointed to this clip from her talk show back in 2017. Take a look.
As the mother of a now 16-year-old.
Mm-hmm. Who I met backstage,
He did?
He's a great young man.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
You represent a lot.
Did you notice how Wendy Williams kind of paused? She got kind of stuck and stuttered after thanking Sean Combs for the compliment about her son. That has had a lot of people talking. Some fans feel that Combs was kind of threatening Wendy Williams by bringing up her son. And that's it for this episode of Crime Fix. I'm Angenette Levy. Thanks so much for being with me. I'll see you back here next time.